Okay, never mind, the dog's outside. My daughter's challenged me to some kind of a quarantine dance-off, so I'm hiding in the garage. While I'm out here, I'm going to twist around the space-time continuum. As you see behind me, there's a box, but as I'm doing this introduction in the video, I haven't made the box yet, but the box is made. And so this is Thursday, day 4, but it's actually Wednesday because I'm filming Wednesday. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be out of order. Point is, this video thing is been like a lot of time. I was going to teach like some quick, simple lessons, and this is all I've been doing. So, here we are. This is quarantine, Oregon, day 4 of the coronavirus lock-in. What are we doing with our lives? Maybe teaching something. I'm going to show you how to finish up this box, and then on Friday, I'm going to like just do like a quick, simple skill and not spend like the entire day in the garage and on my computer. So here we go. There's the box behind me. I'm going to show you how to get to that point and beyond, and then I never want to look at that thing again. All right, here we go. All right, a long time ago. Check the table, make sure it's nice and square before you cut, because on my bandsaw, I've got wheels, and I'm moving the thing around all the time, and I usually grab it by the table to do that. So, table's good and level. Let's go ahead and cut some joinery, get this thing done. Really wish I had a dado saw set up for this. This is the part where I really wish I had some good tools from school. So the bandsaw got pretty close on the cuts, but this was literally, I think, 40 minutes of filing, checking, squaring, checking, fitting pieces together, filing, checking, and so on. If I were to do this again, I think I would set up either my router table or maybe set up a jig with the table saw or the band saw, but this was not the way to do it. Now, if you're doing this from home and you've got limited tools, like you could do this with a coping saw and a file and a square with a really cheap set of tools and make this work. In the end, though, when you look at this, you're going to see some pretty gnarly gaps in this whole thing, and it's not the prettiest thing I've made, but you know, it works. Right, so we're going to just a dry fit right here. Basically, once we put these pegs in, those corners cannot pull apart because they're going in from 2 different directions and holding it in shear. But we're not going to glue this until I get the bottom cut, and that way it'll be absolutely square. I've got some sanding and finishing to do, but basically those are going to drive in there, center in the holes. I'll put a little taper on the ends there, and so on and so forth. All right, so let's do some finish work and get ready to finish this guy, put it together. All right, so we want to sand the inside first because we're not going to be able to do much of that later. We'll sand the outside after we put it all together. All right, so now we need to cut the bottom. Okay, basically just close your eyes for this part. This is the worst possible way to do these rabbits. I mean, it works, but there's a lot of finishing work afterwards. I should have just put a dado blade on there, or maybe used a router table with a rabbit bit. You see that I'm kind of going at an angle there to hog out all that material. Like I said, probably don't want you guys doing this in the wood shop, but it's one way to make a rabbit. It's an ugly way to make a rabbit, and you'll see me in the next clip having to clean up the mess I made there. Also, don't think I showed this in here, but I did end up turning it out up on edge to clean up the horizontal edge where that is. Anyway, yeah, this is a really, really, really bad way to make rabbits. So, just so you know, like, I do dumb stuff too. I really do. Okay, so to make these holes, we're going to use a different kind of bit that we normally use. We're going to use these 1/4-inch dowels to go into the corners, and I want those to be very precisely located. If we use a standard twist bit, you can see it's got a just a tapered point right there. These tend to go on and wander around in the hole, which I don't want. So we're going to use a brad point bit. Notice it's got that sharp point right there, and the teeth are actually angled in towards the center. It's got the opposite angle of our normal twist bit. So that's going to give us a very precise hole. So this will be the bit I use. We don't leave these lying around in the drill bit box because those will get ruined in a big old hurry. These things are cheap. I can replace them compared to that. So let's drill. If you watch really carefully here, I completely get these pieces turned around. So I have them sitting, I think I have them sitting inside facing up, and in the process of gluing I got them turned around, And at the end of all of this, fortunately my hole drilling was pretty darn accurate, but at the end of all of this, I had a couple holes that didn't line up, and I had one that I had to re-drill and have some gaps that are bigger than they needed to be. In the end, I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to go for it and get this thing done. I have gained a new appreciation for the tools we have at school. Doing this at home with tools that aren't sharp or not quite set up for the purpose that I'm used to is really taking its toll. As you can see, some of this joinery, I've got some gaps in here. But we're just going to make this work. I mean, it's a quarantine. What can you do? Our next step is to cut these pegs off, sand that flat, and finish it. And then spend like 4 hours editing this video. Cool. Dozuki. Japanese razor saw. Here we go. Alright, it is time to sand this thing. I know I've done this once already, but I'm using 220 now on this. Do not be fooled by this montage of video. This was about 20 minutes of sanding. On the orbital sander, started with a 120, 150, 180, and finally a 220. I'm just showing you 1x3 here. This is, you guys know how sanding goes. It's like 20 minutes of sanding. Making sure we get all the corners in there. You'll see me briefly hitting the corners and edges just to make sure it's got a nice soft feel to it, because we don't want to scrape our finger on a sharp corner or something. So yes, I sand too. What is this magic going on here? Got a little trick for applying our varnish to this. Just watch. For the varnish, I'm using a shellac. It's a clear shellac. It's cheap, easy to use, easy to clean up, and gives a reasonably nice finish. We're not going for super mega quality here. I just want something that'll give it a little bit of a shine and make those letters stand out on the box. So I'm going to brush that all on, let it dry, put on a second coat. And what those nails are for is to hold up the wet varnish while the rest of it dries. So you do the bottom first, the part you're not going to see, set it on the nails so that those little marks don't stay permanent. Then you do the top half and let it sit. Yeah, and then this cleans up with either alcohol or paint thinner. I used alcohol on that because I had some inside.